Basic tools to begin the day is the first one is this is, and I love this because it's very special because it's maybe at a deeper level of connectivity to evolutionary intelligence, and it's celestial rain catching. Now that sounds a bit woo woo alert. But all it is, very simply, very relatably, is that when you are just waking up and you come to the half space, the liminal space, before your thinking mind comes online, there's a window there where the unconscious mind is open, where you're kind of half in the dream state, and when you've got greater connectivity to the field. The key thing is that you're not already locked into the program of yesterday's thoughts. That's a window, Tom, that if you can have intentionality to leverage that connectivity, when you wake in the morning, you move very slowly. You stay with it as long as you can and hold it. And then you have beside your bed a pen and paper. And you literally, without engaging mind, it takes a little practice, but you take dictation from the divine, transcribe that which you are receiving, seeing, feeling, hearing, knowing, sensing. That's it. No interpretation. That's really important. It's like stream of consciousness. No interpretation, just dictation. Okay, that's a tool that people don't often speak about. That's really important. Marie Curie was working on the great scientist, right? Double Nobel Prize winner. She was actually working on a challenge for, I think it was 3 years, 2 or 3 years. And she'd been working on it and trying to solve it from personal intellect for so long. And it got to a tipping point where she was just like, okay, that's it. I give up. Keywords. I give up. And that's a little bit like in the death experience. I give up my personality. I give up my matter-locked consciousness. I give up my personal intellect. And the egoic solving, very particular imprint in that vibration behind those words, egoic solving, right? So I give up that, I let go. And when she did, she wasn't giving it up intentionally. It was a retro-engineered understanding, retrofitted understanding. She woke in the middle of the night in kind of a trance, went over to her desk, picked up probably would have been pencil at the time, pencil, went over and just wrote down the solution, but kind of in a trance, went back to bed and fell asleep. Forgot she'd got up in the middle of the night. Woke up the next morning, went to bed her morning, and then passed the table and saw the answer written down. Right? She saw the answer written down because it was from beyond her. And the key thing is she let it go. Einstein operated this way as a way of being, actually, as a way of being. He was searching for patterns. You talk about pattern recognition, searching for patterns and taking observations from nature. The indigenous people do this. They watch the flow of nature.
Yeah. I last year for my series, I interviewed this guy, Dr. Stephen Larson, who is Joseph Campbell's biographer and collaborator. And when I stopped recording the interview, he was like, "Oh, have you heard of Emanuel Swedenborg?" And I was like, "Nope." And he was like, "Oh, he was probably the greatest visionary of all time." I was like, "Wait, what? What?" And anyway, the TLDR on Emanuel Swedenborg is that he lived in like the 1700s. He completed knowledge, right? Like there was only so much science you could know in 1700. So he just read it all. And then when he got to his like 50s, he was like, "I'm going to go inside." And he switched his mode of focus to interior. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened. But what happened is that one of his big takeaways was the period between sleeping and waking in the morning. He would get these downloads. And he went from being this quite abstracted intellectual, where it's like everything's coming out of my own brain, to being like, "Oh, it's God giving me the ideas." And he flipped entirely. And what's weird is that, as woo-woo as this all sounds, this is how I operate now, which is in a much less sexy way. But like, I'll often get all of the ideas for my new articles, or just the resolution of the ideas I've been playing with, first thing in the morning. And I guess what I need to do is, I do sleep with my phone away from my bedside, but I think I'm going to start putting it in a next door room, because otherwise I'm going to truncate that period.